Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura. Tonight, I'm joined by Cristian Potelias. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Come on. How's it going, everybody? How you guys doing?
Hey, not too bad, man. It's Thursday night for us. The weekend is basically among us for the ones that have the weekends off. Sorry, Christian, for that.
For real.
But
yeah.
We're also joined by Manny Olivares. What's up, Manny?
Doing good. How's it going, everyone? Hope you are looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, you guys are excited. We have soccer in Houston. We have the Dynamo playing on Saturday. We have Dynamo 2 playing on Sunday, which actually we'll probably have tickets for that Houston Dynamo 2 game. So check out our social medias for that. We'll be giving away. Man, it's been some pretty good games overall, even though they've lost the last 2 home matches, man. But yeah, anything you guys want to share before we get going? I feel like before we used to kind of do a little bit of a, break the ice or, a story. Oh, actually, yeah, Christian, what did you learn this weekend? I'm kidding. What did you learn this week, man?
I don't know where you were. I don't know where you were going, but funny story. I don't know if it's funny because it's gonna cost me like about $100. But me and my dad were trying to be like handyman today, and there was a bunch of cables going on like around the house, and we were like, oh, those are old cables from like the old DirecTV antennas and stuff like that. So he's like, oh yeah, I'll just pull them off real quick. I was like, oh yeah, if you want to. I was like, I was gonna do it, next week sometime. So my dad just started pulling cables off the walls, and then there was one that he was like pulling on it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't take it out. So I was like, oh, there's some like gardening scissors in the garage. I was like, let me go get those, and we just cut it, or whatever. So it turns out is our Wi-Fi cable.
Nice.
So right now I don't have any internet. I'm kind of like bootlegging this today.
Wow.
From my phone. What's it called? I don't know what the term is. Hotspotting from my phone. There you go.
That's funny.
So a technician is gonna come in tomorrow, and he's gonna have to replace the whole cable because we thought we were cool and we cut off the internet. So the kids didn't have TV for the day. They had to. I teach them how to play chess, so at least they were entertained with that.
Bro, I'll add to your story. I kind of did something similar, but it was my mom asked me to, like, this guy my mom worked for needed to do some minor like cleanup around his lawn and stuff. So I had a shovel because he asked me to shovel like all the dead leaves and everything around like bushes and stuff. Bro, I started like hitting that thing. Cut off all the freaking sprinkler system.
No!
So, yeah. So I acted like, I saw when it happened. I acted stupid. I didn't tell. And I was probably like 15, 14 when I did that.
Oh, okay. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. But it was funny because I saw the line and I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, and I didn't say anything. And then out of nowhere, like, I heard my mom say, yeah, they said that the sprinkler system's not working anymore. Like he has to reroute everything. And I'm like, damn, I cut that thing into like 3 pieces, man. Like it's for sure gonna have to be fixed. Oh, that's man, funny. Like the things you do to try to help out and you end up messing it, making it way worse, man. Which yeah, I think this similar day I almost cut my finger off with a hedge saw, trying to be cool and make sure to like do some trimming and stuff. So maybe, maybe I'm not that Mexican. Maybe I learned it that way,
Hey, yeah, we're not all handy, all Hispanics. I always tell people like me, I am not a hands-on person. Like I can do anything at all. Like when it comes to my hands, I was like, you need me to think and talk, I can do that all day.
That's
I'm more of a philosopher.
Yeah. I like it. I got better. Like I like messing with stuff for sure. Mechanical drive and mechanical engineering drive kind of like here. It, but yeah, I'm not I wish I knew like how to like be more of like a welder. Like I see people do completely like brand new things and I'm like, damn, that's pretty skillful. Or like fix up a car or do like a whole house by themselves with like one hammer and like 3 nails. I'm like, how the hell did you do that, guys? But yeah, I mean, we'll get into it, man. We have we're gonna talk about the Dynamo Dash, Dynamo 2. Just to get started, Christian, man, you want to tell the people about our sponsor?
Yeah, for sure. Senate Avenue. If you guys don't know, now you know. They're right there, right off of 290 and Bow 8, right there on Jersey Village. So if you guys are looking for good beer, like homemade beer in a way, they have a little micro brewing thing going on, and really good food, really good atmosphere. Go hit up the guys over there at Senate Avenue Brewing Company, and they're also fellow Dash and Dynamo fans, so they always have the games on. So if you're trying to catch a game in that area, just take the loop and just get off on 290. They're like literally right there. So hit them up.
For real, man. It's a good place. I need to make it out there sometime in the future. Hey, one thing that we'll start with Manny, man. Manny, Houston Dash, man. You follow them more than us, more than Christian and myself. And we talked about it last week. Big news that, obviously Sam Lay gets let go. At the time when we recorded last episode, we didn't know who the interim coach was going to be. We kind of all assumed it was going to be Sarah to take over, just because that had kind of been the thing to happen. It happened last year, same thing. But I don't know about you, what your thoughts are, but what are you feeling with this move? Obviously, playoffs are pretty difficult for the Dash, just with 4 games left. But yeah, what's your thoughts so far, man?
I think, as an organization, I think it will be the safest choice at the moment because, she has done it before, maybe a short-term wise successfully, but she knows the team. She's been with the team the whole season. She knows the team's strengths and weaknesses. I think for at the moment, I think they don't want to hire someone outside the organization until they find a permanent head coach for next season. That feels like the vibe at the moment. But I think Sarah, before she had a good stint, that's when we had the win run streak last season. That like, oh my God, like the Dash is going to do something last season. But at the moment, I think the moods, everything's good. I think as you said, the last 4 games, they're just outside the playoffs, to be honest, of a weird NWSL season. Like we're so in near the playoffs and we're so out of it at the same time. So, but I think this game that's coming up on Friday, it's do or die, to be honest, because the game's is going to be very slim and not enough points to get inside the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. You're right. The points in itself are pretty close. I mean, the Dasher with 20, the 6th place, which is the last playoff spot, has 26. So in theory, you still have 12 points that you're playing. It's going to be a little difficult for sure. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think we've talked about this enough. In my perception of like what we're seeing with the Dash, it's a lot of like trial at this point for me, just because obviously you have a brand new GM trying to kind of get her feet wet into this. Maybe she felt that, maybe Sam Lady was definitely not the guy. He definitely struggled to kind of win the team. It didn't seem like the girls really like rallied around him, and it was a different feeling, a different vibe altogether. Maybe we can't really blame them. Obviously, they've seen a couple coaches come and go. Maybe it's difficult for them to I don't know, maybe open up or respect somebody else coming in, and in a way that's kind of the Sarah, being an interim coach. As much as it's like we also are coming, at the same time too, it's one of those that should she be there at this point, and overall, the picture of the overall and internal, not saying that she can't be a coach. I'm not saying that she wasn't a good assistant coach, but you're just repeating the same thing over and over. So, I mean, who knows? She may shut us up, the doubters like myself that the Dash make the playoffs with the 4 games left. Maybe she wins every game and makes the playoffs. You really don't know.
Mhm.
But
I
yeah, go for it, man.
no, I was gonna say I think this Friday's game could be a good game for the 1 points, but I think the next 2 games, which Angel City, and especially with Gotham, with Juan Carlos Amaros, he's a tactician, as we know when he was here. It's gonna be real different. And I think what was striking for me that from this press conference that we had with Sarah, I think we have good. She really mentions that we have a good foundation this last 8 months. We're just trying to build upon what we have, making the tweaks that we need, and the players know the situation we're in. What we need to do to get in the best situation to succeed. So I think that's what we need. I think we have a good defensive record in the league. I think it's trying to make those tweaks to make that defensive record into an offensive record as well, because we need goals to get in the postseason or the playoffs.
Yeah, and one thing when talking about needing goals, obviously, again, another thing that when we recorded hadn't happened yet was Ebony Salmon getting transferred to Aston Villa. Obviously, we know that she scored a ton of goals for the Dash, sorry, last season. And then you talk about the players that we have here that are supposed to do that, which are Maria Sanchez and Diana Ordonez. Both of them get called up to the national team. I mean, you would hope that gives them a boost, don't you think, Manny?
Yeah, I think it will take away the confusion. Sometimes when we have 2 players battling out for the same position, sometimes that you get a low confidence, or maybe just not the right spark, or even just the system not working together. But now for sure, okay, you have Diana Ordonez as your main striker. Okay, what's the pieces around is going to help her succeed? Because at this point, you have her and you have Andres Alves, that who plays like a second striker, but most likely is going to be helping the main striker out than being a striker herself. So now you got to find, Maria Sanchez, you got Prince coming back. Michelle Lozzi's out for the game for the red card she had last game. So you have good pieces around her that, okay, which players can complement her style, and which players can, you never know which other players can shine now that there's an open space and can step up now to fill that void.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we know that they play this Sunday, or sorry, Friday, this weekend I meant. But Friday, massive win. And Christian, I wanted to say, we hear all this, backlash about the Dynamo or the MLS having FIFA windows and games. Check this out, man. They played 2 weekends ago, the Dash did, and they played last week on September 3rd, or 2 weekends ago, I mean. And then they play on Friday, and then they're off again for like 2 weeks, dude. So it's really odd that they just have this random one game, and it makes sense why the team left early to get there, 2-3 days before the match. And then again they have a massive break because they have a international window. That's the reason why they're going. Yeah, what's up, Manny?
Yeah, well, I think the reason why we had the break last week was because they were finishing up the Challenge Cup games. So the teams that were participating, they want to give them, the time and space to recuperate. But unfortunately, like for us, the Dash, didn't have, they have an off week. So now they need training to build up, and now comes an actual FIFA window. It's just
Right, right.
bad scheduling,
Yeah. It just
that
it's trippy, man. It throws off everything because you're trying to get some momentum, not that they were winning or anything like that, on the right thread. But anyways, yeah. So again, they play this tomorrow, Friday, and then after that they have 3 hard games. You mentioned Gotham FC. They play at home, their last home of the season, October 8th. I'll be there at that match. I'll probably be taking my whole family, probably like party of 700, out to watch the Angel City game. And so make sure to get tickets for that. For sure, try to help out. Hopefully by then they're still fighting for a playoff spot. And then they play Orlando Pride. Funny enough, all this game or all the teams that they're playing, they're also looking to get into the playoffs. So it's one of those that it's going to be a difficult thing for the Dash, but We can just hope that it goes well, even though I don't think it's going to be like that. But Christian, let's close it out, man. Any thoughts you have for the Dash or just what's happening? And then also, do you think they'll make the playoffs? I guess we'll every until they get eliminated, we need to keep asking ourselves, like, will they make the playoffs?
I don't know. I guess, knowing the information that I know now is kind of like what team wants it more. So it's going to come down to the heart and soul of the team. And then if they have it, obviously they're going to make it. If they don't, then the other team wanted it more. I think as easy as that. It's going to come down to that, to heart. So honestly, I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't watch it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, it's just what it seems like, the heart and soul.
So what about you, Manny? What are you thinking?
I think, these out of the 4 games, 3 games are crucial. The one with Louisville, the one with Angel City, and the one with Orlando Pride, because any lose or drop points, that's pretty much it, because you're helping the teams above you to get a point advantage above you. So I think, to be honest, if you win those 3 games, you're looking comfortably to be in the playoffs, to be honest. But it's really asking a lot to get 3 games after a game this week in a break, and then going back and forth. So it's just trying to find that little form. I don't know how you're gonna get it with too much breaks, but it's just do or die game. Like Kenny says, try to play each game as a final.
I like that you mentioned Kenny, man, because we'll move right into Houston Dynamo 2. Obviously, they'll be playing this weekend, big match against North Texas. So they're playing Dallas at home at SaberCat Stadium. Again, we'll have tickets for that match. Check out our social medias. I'm not sure how many we'll have, but, just get out there. Last home game for the boys. So definitely show up, support. I know it's asking a lot, being that it's a Sunday game at 5:30 after the Dynamo are playing at home as well. But, go out there, support the guys. They really need it. And right now, Christian, they're sitting in 6th place. So they're not necessarily comfortably in. They have this game and one away game in Galaxy, or against Galaxy 2, who about a couple weeks ago just destroyed Dynamo 2 at home, like 4-0, if I'm not mistaken. But they're trying, man. There's St. Louis City 2, Dynamo 2, Minnesota 2, and the San Jose Earthquakes are all fighting for, 4 teams are fighting for 3 spots left. So chances are that they can make it for sure. But man, what are your thoughts on so far what we've seen from Dynamo 2 and your expectations for this match on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, basically that, right? Dynamo, they've been a little bit streaky, right? So they go and they win a couple of games in a row. They dominate a few games in a row, and then they turn around and they lose a couple of games in a row as well. So that's that. I guess, finding that switch. We always talk about, the whole starting 11, knowing them by memory and stuff like that. It just seems that when Kenny Bundy plays his guys, they win. When Kenny Bundy is forced to play other guys, they tend to kind of, start with the left foot, and, it's kind of hard to get back in the game after you're down 2-3-0. But I mean, it's just a matter of that. But if we go to the concrete facts, which is 4 teams are playing for 3 playoff spots, and that's all it's going to be, the only team that has it the hardest is Minnesota United. Because they're actually playing 2 teams that are already in the playoffs, Sporting KC and Colorado, but they're looking for Colorado's already like way clinch first spot, right?
Colorado's gonna play like first team players,
they might win it all. Yeah. And but Sporting Kansas City, they're looking for like a home advantage. So, maybe they're gonna go out there and try to win it. Earthquakes, the Dynamo and St. Louis are all playing teams that are already eliminated. So maybe that's a little extra, just knowing that maybe those guys are not going to be fighting as hard because they're already completely out. But, Dynamo have a derby game. So, those games are not meant to be played. They're meant to be won. Or wind or won. Yeah, won. No se juegan, se ganan. There you go. In Spanish is a lot easier. And those are going to be tough games. So I'm going out there this Sunday against North Texas SC, aka Frisco. They're just gonna go out there and just kind of give it their all. Hopefully, Kenny Bundy's gonna have his guys and his guys only, and they'll be able to get something going over there. Like you guys say, I mean, there's only 6 points left, and there's only a 4-point difference between St. Louis and 5th place and Earthquakes in 8th place. So every single point, literally, even if you tie and you go to PK, if those points are going to be super valuable to kind of, see where you're going to end up in that ranking. So hopefully, they at the end of the day, they'll get that 5th place. But honestly, just getting in the playoffs is enough, because obviously we know that the playoff, it's like a whole different tournament of itself. The Dynamo, those do play really well when they play with their own guys. This last game, it was kind of proof that if you give Kenny Bundy just Kenny Bundy's guys, he's gonna make magic work. And a bunch of golazos, LaFleur, he's been killing it on the left side. Diego Gonzalez came back with a free kick. Evans, he had a pretty good. He usually does have pretty good games. You just don't see him score anything.
I think Brooklyn had a good game too.
Brooklyn did an okay job. I mean, I don't think he had as great as game, but Kenny Bundy says they expect a lot from him. So I think the expectations are really high for some guys, and lately not a lot of them have been stepping up. So hopefully, getting into the last of the season, going into the playoffs will help with that, so those guys can step up and kind of catch the eyes of Asher. We were talking about before we started about Asher tweeting about scouting and scouting talents. There's a great opportunity to show Asher and Pat that these kids are you as a player, you're ready to maybe make a step to the first team. So, and I think there's a couple potential guys. So we'll see how the season ends and how the cookie crumbles at the end.
So obviously you're not gonna pick against those to lose against a rival. So I guess for you, the two makes the playoffs, right?
The what?
The Dynamo 2 make the playoffs.
I think they will. It's
Okay.
gonna be tough, but they will.
Sure. What about you, Manny? What are your thoughts? Quick thoughts on it, and I guess do they make the playoffs as well in your mind?
I think Kenny was saying, especially in the press conference, trying to get these players at the right mental place to get the points that we need to make to the playoffs. I think personnel, they're trying to be consistent. I think as Chris said, when Kenny plays his players, the players he knows, they're consistent. They're always performing. Maybe sometimes not get the results, but they always perform. And so I think if they win this game, they're comfortably in the playoffs. Okay, they'll be most likely be away, but at this point in the playoffs, once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. So I say they make it.
Yeah, and the obviously you mentioned the press conferences. I guess Matt, what's it called? Chris's internet's down a bit, but eventually, man, you keep putting all those pressers up on the YouTube channel, and it was gonna be a little shout out to all the people out there helping us and supporting us through the buymeacoffee.com / Bayou City Soccer. Man, we got a couple more supporters. Jen and Dustin, new members, basically, and had a great comment. It said, thanks Bayou City Soccer. Appreciate all the work you put on the site and the YouTube channel. So that's shout out to Chris, because he's the one always trying to keep the YouTube updated as much as we can. And then Kristen Shields, hopefully I pronounced that right. She said, keep up the great work. Go Dash. And last one that is new, Ellen Braden. She also became a member, supporting us through the buymecoffee.com. Man, really, really awesome. Thank you guys for the support. We're just out here trying to continue to bring all the content that you guys like and enjoy. And there's nothing better, man, than to help out, and the community, pumping content of the teams that we all enjoy watching. Anything else that I missed, Christian? Manny, we're good. You guys ready to move to the bread and butter that is the Houston Dynamo? I'll get it kicked off. Obviously, they hosted a members night or member meet the team event for the season ticket holders. This is probably my fourth one. I missed last year's because it was a little further away from me during the week. But this was a nice one, man. It was at the Houston Sports Park, which, if you don't know, that is where the Dynamo and the Dash train. Obviously, 2 trains there as well. Next to the facility is the SaberCat Stadium. So it's like the rugby SaberCats, and obviously the Houston Dynamo, those plays their home matches there as well. But they did a great job, guys. I wish, maybe more of us would have gone. They did a really cool tour of like the behind the scenes, where they come out and from training, where their locker rooms are at. A little bit behind the scenes, the cool stuff they have, the big training room for their recoveries and from injuries and all the good stuff that entails of soccer. And then they broke the team. Obviously, the only squad members missing were Coco Carrasquilla, Hector Herrera, and Xavier Valdez, who were all out due to their national team's call-ups. And the rest of the squad was divided into basically 4 groups. A couple were doing like Q&A sessions hosted by our I was just gonna say colleague. Edgar Veliz was hosting that, asking the questions to the players, as well as some fans were asking them questions. The best takeaway for that one, Eric Sviatchenko said his favorite player was Hernan Crespo. It was pretty interesting. He obviously, he looked at the kid that asked, and the kid, he goes like, I know you're not gonna know who this is, but, and even the teammates, I think who was the next one? I think like Brad Smith and who's I can't remember who's the other guy. I think it was Chase Gasper. They were both like, well, that's really random, for him picking Hernan Crespo. Pretty funny that he picked that. And so they had a table with all the guys doing autographs as well. So there's a line for that. That was like in their main indoor area. And then outside they had a couple games happening. They had food trucks that basically anybody could enjoy. They give you like a meal ticket. You pick a food truck and get some grub. They had free drinks. They had obviously alcohol if you wanted some of that. All free, man. They had the one that I enjoyed was they had ice cream. So I made sure to get some ice cream. But it was nice because they even had some of the guys there taking pictures. People would come up to them. Yeah, Griffin Dorsey, being a part and taking orders for one of the food trucks. I think Bossy did it too, and I think it's Viachenko as well. And then the last group was they had they have an indoor field, or not indoor field, sorry, like a turf field, and on that field they kind of had like little games, whether you are playing or doing penalty kicks or small sided games. And a few of the guys were there kind of doing, playing with the kids. You saw Arthur, Bassi, Franco Escobar, Corey Baird were some of the notable ones having a ton of fun there. And it was funny because for sure, by far, the most requested player that I noticed was Bassi. Bassi, like everybody was trying to hunt down Bassi, trying to get an autograph, a picture from Bassi. Bassi, man, we know that we don't know if he speaks English, French, whatever. But dude, people love him, and he's very like animated, talking to them. So it was fun, man. I think as a fan, myself being a season ticket holder, took my dad with me because he broke his arm, so he's not working. So I'm like, bro, you want to go? Let's go. And so we had a lot of fun, man. So not we don't get paid by Houston Dynamo or the Dash or anything like that to say, but if you guys enjoy, you guys watch the games, or you guys in Houston and you guys want to get autographs, pictures with your favorite players, man, go out there and do it. I think you'll enjoy it. And that's kind of my wrap on that. But let's talk a little bit on the games themselves, guys. Obviously, Houston gets to play the number 1 team in the Western Conference in St. Louis City. Crazy that an expansion team is right here in first. They've been playing very well. They have had their ups and downs. They've had major injuries, but at the end of the day, They have not let go of that first place since basically the beginning of the season, man. Pretty incredible stuff. Christian, unfortunately for the Dynamo, your favorite player, the German Brazilian close, is back from injury. So, man, what are you expecting from this match against the first team or top team on the West, man?
It's gonna be rough. I mean, we're going against one of the best teams, so it's obviously gonna be rough. But I think we have a really good squad right now. We're filling ourselves, and that's a good thing. And not only we are filling ourselves, but we are at home, which is another advantage that we have been able to kind of like put together this past few like months. And I mean, if you look at, the amount of clean sheets we have, if you look at how, defensively we've been super solid, if you look at how offensively, I think we're still trying to become the what we could be. But it's working out so far. So we're putting goals in the back of the net. We're defending well. We have good rotations, which is something that I didn't think I would say this early, but I think our rotation is decent. It's not maybe the greatest, but it's decent. And we're going against one of the biggest teams out there, or I don't know if biggest, but at least a team that is winning, right? So consistently.
This season is the biggest,
exactly.
man. I mean, you take it season by season, and right now you're right; they're one of the biggest.
So let's take that game. Then we have other ones coming up, but I think this is going to be a really good test to see where we're at for sure going into towards the end of the season. I mean, we are in a good spot in the playoffs. But I mean, there's not a lot of room between where we're at and where the playoff spots end. So it's gonna be a good challenge for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great challenge, and obviously, the Houston. I mean, they get a win here in St. Louis. They get against St. Louis this weekend. They play Wednesday against Vancouver. They get 2 wins, and maybe by the game in Kansas City, man, they may have clinched playoffs, and it's something that we haven't said in a while. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, we're not there yet. There's still plenty of matches. You hope that the momentum carries on. But yeah, Manny, you heard what Christian was saying about playing a really tough team in St. Louis, man. What are your thoughts on that, and what are your expectations for this match?
I think, I think as we always keep saying, I think Dustin even mentions it. This will be actually a good test for Dynamo because you're playing #1 team, playing stats will say, they're the #1 team, the goals and everything. But if we get a result or a tie or a win, I think that's could be a huge statement for just now for how the season has been gone, just how the team flipped. I feel like maybe at the beginning we were still finding out how the team's gonna be organized and what players are gonna be now. I think the last time in June when we faced St. Louis, we lost 3-0 badly, and it was like a horrible game to watch. But this is like a turnaround. This is not the same Dynamo they faced before. The team has changed. The chemistry has gotten better. The goals are coming. Now shutouts. This team has shifted. So this is with them in mind. I think this game with St. Louis is going to be a huge defining moment for the season. To be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think you're playing the best team in the West again. We're tired of saying that. Obviously, they're playing in Houston, which the 100-degree weather is pretty much gone, so you don't really have that in your advantage. They've been playing well, or actually really good. Obviously we talk about since the return of Coco and stuff like that from international duty, and just the amount of goals they've scored even before that, right? And I'm in the sense of, you played in Houston, Portland 5-0, RSL 3-1, RSL again 3-0, 2-0 against Columbus, and then you tie against LA Galaxy, which again we talked about this last episode, the fact that people were like, my goodness, we should have won that game 4-0. You still have to remember it's an away game. Like, they're on all those games are not purely winnable. And it wasn't like LA hasn't been playing good lately, even with all the injuries. I mean, they're so handicapped. They basically lost all their DPs, Chicharito, Brugman. Cáceres, you name them, like their real main starters are out. So I agree 110% with you, Manny. Here, it's one of this game against St. Louis it's basically going to teach you a lot. Yeah, I mean the idea here is that you're still competitive at home, and you get all 3 points, man. You were going to say something?
Yeah, and there's also going to be a good test for Ben as well because I think, the players have stepped up, the players has given a lot more. But starting from Saturday, it's going to be Saturday and Wednesday
Yeah,
every until the end of the season.
yeah,
So even that's with the final, the US Open Cup final. So this going to really push the team and him to see, okay, what this team can actually do, because I think for MLS it's unusual, but for European players, that's what they used to. That's what they're
right.
accustomed to. But it just will show how this team is built, the system, how, it's just gonna help us know what we have and maybe what we can look forward to build on if, but I do expect if we win these 2 games and even the Sporting KC, because it's so close the
Yeah.
margins are real close. Even though we win those 2 games, we're still not out of the the line to securely breach the playoffs. But it's just I think if we get the Sporty Casey, I think we should just ride it up from there.
Like, yeah, and like we're taking a lot for granted. We know they're good at home, but they could easily lay like eggs big time on these matches. We hope that's not the case. We hope that they're able to get those all 3 points, man. And so I guess you're saying a win in Houston or for Houston. I'm gonna go ahead and say win as well, and I'm assuming Christian, you're calling this one a W as well. So I think we're all even though St. Louis is a great team. I think we believe that it's a different Houston Dynamo. It was easy in the past to just see them play a good team and completely just be honest and say there's no way the Dynamo can win. There's no way the Dynamo can tie. But we've seen what they've been doing, and I think it's good. And hopefully that is the case that we continue to see them continue to get points, man. Um, yeah, I don't know. Oh, did I have something else? Maybe not. Never mind. I don't know. Christian, did you want to add
Also,
something?
well, St. Louis, they play LAFC on Wednesday. So it's going to be interesting to see, if they maybe rest some players, maybe they do, maybe they don't. It just kind of also depends, what they're looking at. Because, I mean,
Oh,
LAFC is kind of direct competition for that first spot.
yeah, true. And injury, that's what I was gonna say. Injury report. Teenage
Yeah.
Davy. What did we hear or not hear about teenage Manny from Ben this press conference?
Yeah, I think the main question from Joey, shout out to Joey Stats, that is, picking up the slack for everyone. I think it was just mostly that, Teenage has been constantly, starting for those. This last those game, he wasn't even on the sheet. So they were saying, like, is he coming back to the first team? And I think the answer was pretty much yes. There was no reason why he shouldn't be on the starting sheet because he's been constantly performing. He's been at the medicals has been great. It's just now it's just, to see if he's up for I think might start on the bench, but that's really hard to see. We'll see what how Mikel and everyone's back.
Yeah, I think the smart thing to do would be to keep him on the bench. You want to see him on the team sheet, but you don't, especially playing against St. Louis. I wouldn't really rock the boat a little too much. The center backs have been doing a great job. Mikel has been doing very good with Sviatchenko. Um, so that and even before that, again against LA, obviously we saw the return of Ethan Barlow, due to Sviatchenko's suspension. But no, it should be a fun game, man. It should be a pretty good one. Man, I think we've hit everything we're gonna talk about today. Christian, if you could tell the people how they can connect with us, man.
Yes, you can always go to BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where you're going to find everything. Everything's categorized. Ooh, that's a hard word. So you can check everything there, anything and everything. You can find us at Bayou City Soccer on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So hit us up over there. Give us like, subscribe, whatever you may like and enjoy. Leave a comment, leave a review. And then if you want to be part of those great people that helped us out, that Rudy mentioned earlier in the podcast, buymeacoffee.com// Bayou City Soccer. I almost forgot.
Yep.
Yeah, you can
Shout out to Jeff Strong, man. That's
Yes.
still gotta always give shout out to Jeff Strong.
Let's go. Yeah, you can always donate there. You can make a one-time donation, or you can make it a monthly thing. Obviously, that's going to help us out buying new gear. Keep trying to find other stuff, filling holes wherever we need to when it comes to the financial side of things, of running such a nice operation that we're trying to do for the city of Houston and the soccer community here. So that helps us out a lot. You can find me at Chris Putalias on Instagram and Twitter. You can find Rudy at Rudy Segura 3 on Instagram and Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Rodrigo, who's not here today, you can find Rodrigo at Rodrigo Segura 01, and Manny at Manny Vela 4, if I'm not mistaken. You can also find him on Twitter and Instagram. So hit us up. Let us know if you like us. Let us know if you don't. Actually, don't let us know. But you can always follow us there. Don't forget BayouCitySoccer.net for all your soccer needs in Houston.
And since we're here, man, might as well shout out to Marshall Singer. Shout out to you, bro. You know who you are. Big supporter of the show, for liking and commenting on our YouTube.
Shout out Marshall.
Shout out Marshall. But man, thank you so much, Houston soccer fans, for hanging out with us today, whenever you guys are listening. Definitely make sure, like Christian said, rate, subscribe, man. All that goes a long way. And definitely share the news of Bayou City Soccer to your friends and family. Keep the community growing for sure. And with that, we're gonna ask you. I'm trying to remember what Rodrigo says, but don't forget to always hold it down and keep it forever orange.